What's going on, everyone? Today, 69% of the S&P 500 closed up in the green, and honestly, there wasn't too much crazy news today, but there was a lot of great movement all across the board. AI and nuclear stocks crushed it, cannabis stocks are ripping, Intel is getting in the quantum game, and gold prices made brand new record highs yet again, hitting $2,882 an ounce. But in this video, we're going to cover everything you have to know about what's going on in the market right now, and we're going to be covering where the action is at for tomorrow. Make sure to stick with us all the way until the end. We have a very interesting big money play today. But besides that, Tom, we are all set and ready to go.
Yeah, let's go, Mike. The SPY made a great move today, up above 602 and started to run up in a pretty nice way here as a lot of these tech stocks were fueling this run today. And I will say, first things first, Intel started to move a little bit. Now, Intel isn't necessarily what fuels the S&P 500, right? You know, like we go to the heat map, of course, you see things like Intel, NVIDIA, Avgo, bigger names like that, right? Intel's a very small little box here, but they did have some good news today, and they are running off of it. And Mike, we've talked a lot about these quantum companies lately, like QUBT, RGTI, some of these other quantum stocks, and they've been popping off. And there's just been a lot of talk in the quantum space, even with bigger companies like Microsoft and others. And it looks like Intel is getting into the quantum game. They're partnering with a Japanese lab to build a quantum computer. And the thing that really interests me here, the thing that really piques my attention with this, Mike, is, their old CEO, Pat Gelsinger, got ousted. Their two new CEOs, they promised that Intel would be making some better headlines and, kind of getting their name out there a bit more. And hey, so far in 2025, they're kind of kicking things off in a pretty good way. And the stock is actually moving off of it too.
Yeah, it's definitely a step in the right direction, which is something that Intel desperately needs. And when we look at the stock, Intel has definitely struggled quite a bit. And, this news definitely helped. And I will say that, this sort of news is something that actually has like stock moving potential, especially given how hot quantum is. When you look at some of these hot quantum stocks in the short term, whether it's RGTI, QUBT, QBTS, IONQ, or any of the other ones, they have been running to the upside in a stronger way than almost anything else over the past few months. And when Intel has news like this, it's definitely great. This development that they're doing will cost around like $65 million, at least to start out. They're going to be working on the creation of this quantum device starting this spring, and they plan to create like a computer with supposedly several thousands of qubits by 2030. So it's definitely like a longer term project, but in the short term, it does have stock moving potential. And Tom, Intel is at some pretty key support right now as well.
It definitely is. This support is major, right around $18.50 to $19, and some people even call it the $20 support. Whenever you go back, you can go back on a daily chart of Intel, Mike, and it has not been at these levels since like 2012, 2011, right? And it was actually bouncing around these same levels even back then. So definitely have your eyes on this big support, right around $18.50 to $19. I'm going to go ahead and just call it a support range, Mike, rather than listing out one specific level, because as you guys can see, like the bottom isn't necessarily perfect every time. You got to give or take a little bit, but we've been seeing some really good reactions off of this. And the thing that I love about it is there's multiple ways to play this. Of course, you can ride the intraday momentum and keep looking for good scalping opportunities intraday, but even for like the slower players out there, you could maybe go for some shares with the stop loss right around $18.25. And, you can actually target somewhere like $25 plus. And if they start to get some real actionable momentum off of this, I would not be surprised if they came up to test the top of this range, with which they've tested a couple times already here.
Definitely, and I love that reward to risk there as well, Tom. And, when it's at like a low level like this, plus it has some good news, it's definitely a setup worth keeping on the radar. So either way, keep Intel close on watch. But there was also a ton of great movement with like AI and nuclear stocks today. When we look at tickers like BBAI or OKLO or TEM, a recent Nancy Pelosi special there, or even some classics like NVIDIA or ARM, there was a ton of bullishness.
Yeah, there definitely was today. Nvidia was one of the main stocks really fueling the S&P 500. Going back to the heat map one more time, 5.2% there. Even Avgo in that chip sector, 4.3%. So we're seeing some really good movement. I would say BBAI was one of my favorites of the day, Mike. A lot of people were hyping this one up 44%. Like, that is no joke. And the average percent rise is 7%. This is one of the more volatile stocks that I've seen in a long time. And we go to the daily chart, it's starting to extend out above $5 in a great way. Like, that was just such a crucial $5 break and run today, and they got some good they actually got some good government contracts, which was amazing. That helped them out. But Mike, I think that the most interesting thing about BBAI is that literally, like, over the past couple of days, Jim Cramer actually said not to get BBAI. He advised against it, and looks like the kiss of death strikes again.
The ultimate inverse signal. But yeah, I mean, looking at these AI stocks, they are crushing it right now. There wasn't like too much like insane news in like an industry-wide sense. But remember with yesterday's Google earnings, part of the reason why this stock fell so much is because they announced that they're going to be spending a lot more on like capital expenditures. And a lot of people are, kind of figuring that a lot of that increased spending is going to be geared towards like AI in one way or another, and we just saw like a giant like bull fest throughout like the entire AI industry today. So that appears to be like some of the main news driving this. Keep a very close eye on BBAI, TEM, Nvidia, ARM, Oklo, and others. They have a lot of momentum right now, and as we all know by continuously looking at these stocks over the past few months, when they have momentum, they move big time.
They really do. I can't believe TEM up 11% again today, and some of the options moves on these are pretty insane. Like, we're talking hundreds of percents, and in a lot of cases, thousands of percents, with some of the insane action that we've been seeing over the past few weeks. And I will say Nancy Pelosi really sniped this one, Mike. How is something not being done about this yet, right? Like, how long is this going to go on?
I don't even know, Tom. It's a rough topic to talk about, honestly. Like, I know something like eventually might get passed, but I have a feeling that when that happens, Nancy will be already out of her position. But yeah, she's the best trader of all time, clearly for a reason. But even on some other news that's not directly connected to AI, but kind of is when you look at like SMR as well. This is like another like nuclear stock, somewhat similar to Oklo, or it moves alongside it, I should say. And this is like another industry that is getting like a pretty good bid right now, because as like hype and momentum grows related to like AI like software stocks, a lot of people look at how those data centers that power the AI are going to be fueled, you can say. And a lot of nuclear related stocks have been definitely like in the spotlight. So also keep this one on the radar. It popped up by 7%, which is definitely pretty good. Right along there with Oklo.
Yeah, that was awesome. SMR, it has actually been a little bit under the radar, I would say, compared to Oklo. And obviously, the Oklo chart's a little bit better whenever you look at it over the past couple of weeks and couple of months. But I will say, SMR definitely piques my interest as they make those small modular reactors. And I really think that that is something that could end up popping off a lot more here in the future as we start to hear more and more about it. But of course, it's going to be something that is going to have a lot of volatility to it. Keep in mind that these stocks are pretty crazy as well, so just make sure you're handling your risk, right? Always have stop losses in place, and for the longer-term investors, of course, keep your long-term mindset, but for the intraday traders out there, just be wary of some of the volatility here.
Always. And then, Tom, we can't talk about hot stocks today without talking about the cannabis stocks, because they crushed it. So when we look at CGC, this thing popped up by 22% on the day, and ACB and Tilray had some pretty awesome moves as well. So what is going on here? What is driving this move?
This is nuts. I can't believe this. ACB's up over 45%. We have all these MJ stocks running, and BBAI was up over 40%. And I was like, wow, what's going on there? And then ACB comes out here and even beats it, closing at 45.9% today. Like, what a good run. But there's actually a combination of news that's making these MJ stocks move. And I think the first thing is that a Senate Finance Committee actually advanced RFK's nomination to the Senate, which is great to see. So there's going to be a confirmation vote, and I heard that there wasn't a vote scheduled yet, but that will be scheduled and coming up soon, and this is huge. And I know that he's not confirmed yet, Mike, but Polymarket is putting this at a 97% chance that he does get confirmed, and you can actually tell on the Polymarket graph here that over the past couple days, this ended up shooting up like pretty much right up to this 100% mark. So I'm definitely going to be thinking that he gets confirmed. And of course, we've been hearing a lot about his confirmation, and he's seen as being pro-cannabis, which is nice to see. And then also there was a Senate hearing today where they were actually talking about banking and the marijuana industry a lot. And I know that that is a big deal for the marijuana industry too. So there were kind of a couple great things going on for the marijuana industry today, and it just kind of came together and helped fuel this crazy run.
Yeah, so RFK has been pretty pro-cannabis, and we're definitely seeing traders jump into cannabis-related stocks ahead of his official confirmation. Cannabis stocks are just one of the areas of the market that just move in like in an insanely explosive way, as we can see just by looking at the price action with them. And when you zoom out, it only gets crazier and crazier. So basically, not only for tomorrow, but honestly over these next couple of weeks, keep a close eye on CGC, ACB, and even TLRY. They move a ton, and when they have momentum, they move in a stronger way than almost anything else out there. They have a lot of work to do to like truly break out, but they are in like that early stage right now, and they're still like relatively under the radar.
They definitely are, and you can see here, like on the daily chart, there's multiple instances where CGC would start to get some good news, or the marijuana sector would in general, and we start to see it pop off for a couple of days, and the continuation really does continue in a great way. And like from the lows, some of these runs are insane, Mike, like 435% within just a few months there. And then here's another example, not quite as good, but 400% on that run. Now, don't target 400% on this one, right? I'm sure someone out there is going to try that. Maybe it will this time. Obviously these MJ stocks are pretty nuts, but that just kind of goes to show how volatile they really are. And whenever they start to get that momentum, it can create some really, really good opportunities in the short term.
You know it. So either way, keep a close eye on these stocks, but also keep a close eye on gold, as we've been saying. So gold cracked brand new record highs yet again today, hitting $2,882 per ounce. Basically, over the past few weeks, we've been seeing a lot of money flow into gold because it is a nice safe haven asset, and it's something that people like to have exposure to during times of increasing uncertainty. Look at ticker symbol GLD that follows gold prices, and even GDX, which follows a bunch of gold mining companies. It's still running with a lot of momentum right now, and the trend continues.
This is awesome. Like GDX from its recent lows up 23% on this run. And if we go to the actual chart of gold itself and we go to the daily, and I've noticed this, if we zoom out like from the beginning of 2024, I mean, GOLD's chart is almost like, I would say that if you said that this was like NVIDIA or something, people would be going crazy, right? It looks that good. Like it is that strong with gold over the past year, and especially the past few weeks on this breakout. And Mike, I got to give it to you. You talk about gold all the time. I know it's one of our favorite commodities, of course, to look at, like along with oil and a couple others, but it has been popping off, and there's been a few big money trades recently that have been really taking advantage of this as well. I know we've been looking at SLV a lot over the past few days, and we're definitely watching this one for more potential as well.
No doubt. So yeah, we're definitely going to talk more about SLV as the video goes on, but whether you're looking at gold prices, cannabis stocks, AI stocks, nuclear stocks, or anything else that's moving in a strong way right now, understand that, like, yes, it's awesome to, ride strong trends, and, there's a lot of opportunity that comes along with it, but at the end of the day, in order to make anything off of these over the long term, you have to trade in a smart way. Before you enter any setup, know exactly where you're going to stop out of it in the event that the trade doesn't do what you want it to do. Because if you just resort to holding it and hoping, your losses will end up being a lot larger than your winners, which will present a big problem in terms of overall profitability. So just in general, have stop losses and, don't hesitate to respect them, because some people set stop losses, but then when the stop loss gets hit, they just, hold and hope, and it just brings upon like a pretty rough problem. So definitely keep that in mind. Smart trading is crucial. But Tom, looking at the rest of the earnings lineup for the week, what's on the schedule?
Yeah, we have quite a few still tomorrow, actually. Eli Lilly before open, which, a lot of people don't even realize how big LLY really is, I don't think. Roblox before open as well, Peloton, and then in after hours, we have Amazon, Elf, Affirm, and even MCHP, Microchip down there, kind of hiding in the middle of the chart. But, and then, of course, Mike, I wanted to throw this one in. Normally, we wouldn't talk about it till Thursday night, but CGC does report on Friday, so be a little wary playing those options as the earnings can obviously change options pricing quite a bit over the next couple days.
No doubt. And then how about the economic schedule?
Yeah, there's nothing really on the radar for tomorrow, but on Friday, there is quite the rundown, actually, as 1 hour before the market opens, there's non-farm payrolls and the unemployment rate, and then 30 minutes after the market opens, we're going to get the Michigan Consumer Sentiment preliminary data for February. So definitely have your eyes open on Friday, but for tomorrow, nothing overly crazy, which is nice.
Sounds good. All right, Tom, well, looking at SPY right now, today was a pretty good day, but there's still a decent amount of resistance overhead. So what are the key levels to watch in both directions, and what are you seeing in terms of the charts?
Over the past couple days, we really talked about this key 602 resistance, and now that is going to act as support. Once the SPY broke through 602 today, it bounced around 603, which we've also been mentioning, and then actually used 602 as support, and then once it broke 603, it used 603 as support. So definitely watch 602 and 603 as possible supports for tomorrow. If these do give out, then actually watch $600, and then at $598, right around that low from this morning. I think 600 will be a pretty big area again if the SPY does end up pulling back. But as we can see, the SPY is starting to pop up quite a bit back into some of these more major resistances. So I'm really watching for 605, 608, and then 610, which is the recent peak up there. I think over the next few trading days, if the stocks stay hot, people are going to start targeting that recent high around 609 to 610. So keep that on the radar. And I think, Mike, as far as like the price action goes here, and let me know your thoughts on this as well. I'm going to be watching and waiting for a possible lower high to come in sometime soon off of that recent peak as well.
Yeah, I definitely see that in the cards. And of course, like a lot of it will depend on the news that we see over the coming days. Trump news has been really driving the markets lately. And it's almost like every single day we get like a new big headline. Surprisingly, there wasn't anything like too insane today. But, this is like the exception because it's been a news-driven market. So keep that close on watch. And besides that, let's get right into the good stuff for today, which are some setups and predictions. A stock that is definitely on my radar right now is Google, and it is to the downside. They fell pretty badly after reporting earnings yesterday, and I have them on watch as a potential earnings continuation. It has support right around that $189.50 level, as well as $188 and $187. These three support levels are very close on watch, and I'm looking for Google to put strong pressure on its lows and continue its bearish momentum. Of course, at the end of the day, if Google just, gaps up tomorrow and doesn't show any negative price action, then of course don't try and play the stock in a bearish way.
Yeah, that's a huge support. If it gives out, I'll definitely be watching it to the downside as well. With my first setup, I'm looking at Nano Dimensions to the upside. I like this stock quite a bit on the intraday and even the daily charts. And on the daily, it's been consolidating really hard around this $2.20 support. And we're starting to see some pretty good momentum to the upside off of this. And you guys can tell, I don't know how many bounces this is officially, but like 10 bounces plus here with nano dimensions off of this support. Like, that is a ton of touches, and once again, we're seeing some good movement. What I'm really looking for, though, is just a continuation into this recent high of $2.75, and then maybe even a larger run over the next couple days towards this $3 recent peak. I think targeting $3 here on this run could be viable, given off of this support. It's gotten there quite a few times, and of course, it's bounced off this lower support quite a bit, but I'm definitely watching Nano Dimensions up, as it has a ton of momentum in the short term.
All right, sounds great. Another stock that is close on watch is SLV, and it is to the upside. SLV follows silver prices, which have been lagging behind gold prices a little bit, but also has the potential to be a lot more like volatile and momentum driven than gold. So there's definitely like a trade-off there. But basically, we've been seeing a lot of money flow into precious metals lately. SLV has been trending in the right direction, but it doesn't have a ton of momentum just yet. So it's definitely still on my bullish radar, not specifically for tomorrow, but honestly throughout like the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I love these metals in the short term. And, these metals, they move a little bit strange. Sometimes they get slow. They might gap up or gap down. But, like, for swings and just overall, movement, like you said, like, over the next couple weeks and stuff, I definitely am a big fan. And especially, like, gold, silver, those ones obviously are the most popular. With my next setup, I'm looking at Amazon and looking at the Bookmap here in the short term. There's a lot of buyers stacked up underneath around 235 and even, like, 235.35, which is pretty insane. Around 64,000 shares at 235. And if we do see 235 give out, I'm going to start watching Amazon to the downside for tomorrow. This is a big area where there's a lot of buyers. So if it gives out, that's where I'll look for the price action to start to pick up some more momentum and for the bears to start to take a little bit more control. But I definitely like that as an intraday support from today, as well as it's right around the low of day. I did notice, Mike, like today, tech stocks were very mixed. Like, looking at the heat map, of course, like Nvidia was up, the chip stocks, but some of the other tech stocks like Google and Amazon had really bad days, and even Tesla.
Yeah, exactly. So it shows that like we're definitely seeing some mixed flows right now, and it's definitely worth keeping in mind because the market is increasing and it's strong right now, but the momentum can turn on a dime. So I definitely agree there, and I will keep a very close eye on that 235 level with Amazon. But besides that, Tom, we are all clear for today's momentum plays. And with the first one, we have Oklo to the upside.
How could you not, right? These nuclear stocks are insane. If Oklo can get above $52.40, then keep watching it up.
All right, with the next one, we have TDOC also to the upside.
Teladoc, gotta love this one in the short term. They have been on fire. If they break out above $11.45, keep watching them up as well.
And with the last one, we have Tesla to the downside.
Oh, man, that's going to ruin the momentum plays for today, Mike. But definitely watch Tesla down below 375. And the reason why I'm using 375 is such a good level here is this is actually a recent bottom from Tesla. So if we end up breaking under this area, definitely keep watching it down.
All right, sounds good. So we have Tesla on watch for a move lower, and we have Teladoc and Oklo on watch for a potential move higher. These three stocks are only plays if they break through the levels listed. The stronger and more consistent they move, the better the setups become. Have stop losses and adjust with the trend changes as they happen, as always. And besides that, Tom, it is now about that time for today's $543,000 big money trade, and we are looking at ticker symbol SIRI. Today, the big money bought the 24 strike call options that expire on March 21st of 2025, and this trade is definitely more interesting than most, considering Warren Buffett has been buying up more and more shares of this company, and there was just news about this yesterday that came out. So basically, Warren Buffett has been continuously buying into this stock, and he now has a 35% stake in this company, and the big money is taking a pretty bullish stance here, where the big money trader bought the 24 straight call options that are already in the money, and they have a little bit over a month's worth of time to them as well. So the big money's expecting, a pretty decent move somewhat soon, which is definitely good to see. Looking at this stock, when it has momentum, it tends to trend in a strong way, and in the grand scheme of things, this stock is definitely towards the lower end of its recent range.
If Warren Buffett is buying this up, I'm definitely going to be giving it a look. That's for sure. But I will say I'm kind of surprised. This whole position that he's taking with SiriusXM is kind of intriguing to me. Number one, the stock has been brutal. That's number one, right? Number two, I don't know anybody that uses SiriusXM anymore. I mean, maybe I'm wrong there. Let me know in the comments if you guys use SiriusXM. It makes sense that Warren Buffett would buy this. Maybe a lot of older people do it. I'm not sure. But at the end of the day, I feel like SiriusXM is a pretty weird stock in the sense that it's been falling so much. Maybe that's going to create a really good opportunity here, though. There's a lot of opportunity whenever these stocks can start to get so low that they get to valuations where they become kind of acceptable, right? So, there could be opportunity here. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, though. I think this is a very interesting play with the big money and also from Warren Buffett in general here.
Yeah, no doubt, because it's not that often that you see Warren Buffett, one, buying into a company like this one, but also where you see a big money trader, place a relatively short-term bullish trade like this one shortly after the Buffett news came out, and then the stock is moving with momentum as well. So it's definitely one worth keeping on the radar, so keep Siri on watch. But before we continue on, we have to give a giant shout-out to today's member of the day, Dolphin81, who had a great post in the Profits channel today saying, officially my first month in the community. Been trading basically even all month, but finally starting to see some nice profits this week with my small 2K account. This is such a great community. You guys rock. So huge shout out to you, Dolphin, and keep on rolling. It's awesome to see posts like this one. And if you guys are new to the StockedUp YouTube channel, consider obliterating that subscribe button so you can get our videos recommended to you more often. Basically everything from important earnings to news, charting events, and key information is covered every single day. It takes us hours to make these videos, and we cover everything in around 20 to 25 minutes or less. Sometimes we go longer than that if there's a lot to cover. So if you want our videos recommended to you more often, definitely tap that subscribe button. But besides that, thank you all so much for watching. There's a lot going on in the market right now, and there's certainly a lot of big movement that'll happen in the short term, especially as more and more like Trump tariff news continues to come out. I think it says a lot how we're seeing AI and other tech-related stocks move up in a strong way right now, as well as gold prices making new all-time highs basically every day. There's a lot of big movement happening, so it definitely should be a pretty exciting next couple weeks in the market. But besides that, thank you all so much for watching, and let's crush it in the market tomorrow.